if you have the faith and you believe that you're going to get to where you want to be, then you have to start working towards whatever the person is that you want to become. It's the faith that you believe that it can be done. I feel like when you ain't working towards it, that you don't really believe it. I just want you to visualize the person that you want to become, and think about what they will be doing at that level. When you get to that high level, think about what you'll be doing at that high level, and start doing it now. Welcome back to another episode on the Way of Growth podcast with your host Juliet. If you are new to this channel, this podcast, we talk about personal development, advancement, and growth. If you are somebody that's looking to start your personal development journey and you're not sure how to start, then this is exactly the podcast for you to be at. Or you may be someone that's on your personal development journey and you probably want to learn a few things, or you may be able to teach me a few things. Let's get into the topic for today. So today we're going to be talking about why it's so important to plan for the person that you want to become. Whatever goal it is that you have, it is so important to plan to become that person. And we're going to touch on that in this podcast episode today. I know sometimes we all wish we could have instant success, because growing up in this day and age and watching social media, we see, quote unquote, people becoming successful in a blink of an eye. For some people, it may be the case, but for everybody else, it's not always going to be the case where you become successful just like that. I won't even lie to you, there are times when I think that, hey, why I can't become successful in a blink of an eye? But it doesn't always happen that way. First things first, saying you want to become something, and doing it are two different things. I know everybody believes in affirmations. I believe in them too. Your girl believe in them because I say them every morning, every evening. I lay my head down. I repeat affirmations. But there are also some affirmations where you have to take the step. You literally have to work with it. Yes, the Bible does say, if you speak a thing, it shall be established for your sake. However, faith without works is also dead. So if you're constantly saying, okay, I'm going to be a multimillionaire, I'm going to be a top stylist, I'm going to be a big YouTuber, I'm going to be a big content creator, and you're just saying these things but not putting any action with it, it's not going to happen. Let me be the first person to break that news to you and let you know that it's not going to happen, because you're just saying it. But even when you say something, it should ignite something inside of you to say, okay, I'm saying this, so now what can I do to become what it is that I'm saying? And I think a lot of people think that by just saying things that it's just going to pop up out of the blue, like magic. It doesn't work like that. You have to put in the work. My thing is, right, saying you want to do something and not doing or working towards it, I feel like that's crazy. Because, for example, say you want to be a multimillionaire. You don't even know how to budget your money right now. You spend excessively. And some millionaires do that now. But if you really study persons who are millionaires, multimillionaires, and who have been able to keep that money flowing, you would study their habits and you realize that they budget their money correctly. They don't spend excessively. They always have a cap on what they would spend in a year's time. Or even if they do spend in big amounts, they would spend that amount of money on investments. They would put that in investments so that they'd be able to continue their income, continue their streams of income coming in. There's no way that you want to be a multimillionaire but you don't know how to budget your money and you spend excessively. There's no way that you want to become a content creator, but you don't even use your phone to record something so that you could have content. How do you want to become a content creator if you're not even putting in that work? You're not recording anything. You have to put content out there for people to be able to watch your content. And that will help you to get deals, brand deals, for brands to work with you. How could you say, I want to be a top stylist, I want to be a top hairstylist, but you haven't even perfected your craft? And even if you don't know how to do hair yet, you aren't even practicing on your hair. And I feel like it's no excuse, because we have YouTube. Like, if you want to learn something pertaining to hair, YouTube University will really teach you. Okay, so let's get into the second thing about planning to become the person that you want to be. Secondly, it takes levels. Okay, I know we all want to jump from level 1 to 10. Some days I feel like that too, where we want to jump from level 1 to 10 because we feel like, okay, why do I even need to go through these different levels to even get to that top level? But it's necessary. Honestly and truly, it's necessary. I want to give you an example from the Bible, and I always go back to the Bible. David. Y'all remember David? David, who was king. Before David became king, David was in the field tending to the flocks. He's tending to the sheep. He is fighting off lions, fighting off bears, just to make sure that his animals were not harmed. Y'all think that if David wasn't fighting off those lions and those sheep, that he would have been able to go up against Goliath? We wouldn't have been hearing that David defeated Goliath, if David didn't go through that process while being a shepherd and fighting off lions and fighting off bears. We would have been hearing that Goliath defeated David. And that's all because David went through the levels. When Samuel first anointed David as king, David didn't become king right away. David still, after the oil pour on David still had to go back to the field and be a shepherd. And I think a lot of times we forget that even though you may have seen where the person that you want to be, you see yourself as this big time person, big successful business owner, big multi-millionaire, big content creator. We see these things, but we forget that it's a process that we got to go through to get to that big thing. See, and sometimes we neglect the process because we feel like we know it all. We feel like we got it all together. Y'all ever see someone who probably running a business and they just jump from not knowing how to run a business, not going through different levels and finding different classes and different courses, and they just jump into business, and as soon as something happened they fold. This is because they did not go through the levels that would take them to be a big successful business owner. You got to go through the levels because there are going to be some things at level 5 that you got to deal with and you got to handle, that if you was at level 1 and you get hit with that thing what was on level 5, you wouldn't be able to handle it. So there's a process that we got to go through to become that big thing, whatever it is that you want to do. It's a process that you got to go through because each level is teaching you, each level is carrying you higher, but it is teaching you. You guys have in grade school, I've never seen anybody jump from grade 1 to 6. You may have skipped a grade, 1 grade you may have skipped, but I've never seen a school put someone who was in grade 1 straight into grade 6. And you know why? That's because they got to go through that process. They got to go through grade 2. They got to go through grade 3. They got to go through grade 4. And each grade they go through is preparing them for the next grade. So that's how you have to look at it as well too. And lastly, what I want to talk about is being intentional. I always talk about this on the podcast. Being intentional, sorry y'all, I got a little heavy tone, but being intentional is one of the top things that you have to do when you are planning or preparing to become the person that you want to be. You got to be intentional with those routines. You got to be intentional with your sleep hours. You got to be intentional with your good habits. Just as you be intentional with those bad habits, you got to force yourself to be intentional with those good habits. You got to be intentional and say, hey, okay, let me give an example. Let's just say you're someone that wants to be a successful business owner in the next 10 years. Study the habits of persons who are successful business owners. If your habits that you are doing now are not in alignment with that, whoever you study, then you need to change some things and start getting intentional about the new habits that you're putting in place. And I know someone may say, oh, well, why I got to watch other people and be like other people? Here's the thing. You know where you want to get in life. And you see people who are on that level where you want to get in life. If you see people who are on that higher level of where you want to be, you study them, especially if they're happy people. Study them and find out what habits do they have? What are their routines? What exactly do they do in their personal life that help them? And many of them do speak about it. They speak about it and they'll tell you what they have done in their personal lives that has helped them in their professional lives to be able to run a successful business and be a successful business owner. Sometimes people think that their personal, whatever they do in their personal life would not affect their professional life, but it does. Whatever you do in your personal life will affect your professional life. And that's whatever you do, whether you are a person that is employed, whether you're the employer, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a YouTuber, whatever it is, whatever you do in your personal life will affect your professional life. So all I can tell you today, as I bring this podcast to a close, all I can tell you is plan for what you're asking God for. Plan for what when you go, before you go to your bed, whatever you're praying for, plan for it. You gotta give God something to work with. You gotta give God something to work with. The Bible says that faith without works is dead. Faith is half of the part, is half of it. Faith is your belief system. And another thing too is, if you have the faith and you believe that you're going to get to where you want to be, then you have to start working towards whatever the person is that you want to become. It's a faith that you believe that it can be done. I feel like when you're working towards it, that you don't really believe it. Your evidence is in your work. Your evidence is in the work that you are doing, that you are going to get to the person that you want to become. And I know it's easier said than done. Someone may be saying, well, it's easier said than done. It is. Because today is a very gloomy day in the Bahamas. A very nice rainy day. And I really wanted to lay down in my bed. But I chose to get up and record this video because I know what vision I have. And my faith is doing this video, knowing that it's going to help me to get to the level where I need to be to become the person that I want to be. That's all. And when you start to see it like that, I just want you to visualize the person that you want to become and think about what they will be doing at that level. When you get to that high level, think about what you'll be doing at that high level and start doing it now. You may not be able to do everything. You may not have the money right now that you may have at that high level, but start putting in the work. Start doing it. Just start. Literally, just start. And when you start, it may not be the best, but as you continue on and on and on, you would see the growth. And like I talked about levels, you'll see you going from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. Some things what may have knocked you down at level 1, when you reach to level 3, man, you are more than a conqueror. You are more than a conqueror. And I just hope you guys see it like that today. Like I always tell you on this channel, we are all about becoming the best versions of ourselves. We're all about becoming the best versions of ourselves. And so this brings this video to a close, this podcast for you guys watching, listening on the audio. And if you did not subscribe to this channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. If you did like this episode, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And also comment down below in the comment box and let me know you guys' experiences, how you feel about this episode, and share it with somebody else who may need it. And until the next video, see you guys.